links below in the description. I'm reading only half of the information from someone's interview with a person who is claimed to have witnessed UFOs shutting down nuclear weapons at Malmstrom. Assertion. Missile maintenance crews and security teams camped out at 2 of the launch facilities had seen UFOs, and one security policeman never again returned to the missile security duty because somehow he could say that I saw something scary, so I'm not going to go out and guard a missile. I'm just using that as an example of many of the claims made by, I'm saying, hucksters who are making claims about something that happened that may not have. Pro tip, what actually happened at this nuclear silo is the equipment malfunctioned, and this is understood and acknowledged by everybody. And the specific cause was found. This is not acknowledged by the hucksters. And assertions made about certain eyewitnesses are going to be processed here. As of September 24th, 2010, Walter Feigl stated the following without mincing words. Now I'm going to point out a couple of things here. Getting a written response interview with audio, or just an email interview where the person is literally telling you what they think, has a lot more weight to it than someone's assertions about somebody in a book. Now this was done by the son, this information comes from a website run by the son of one of the persons who was there. But this is about another person's assertions as of 2010, September 24th. Walter Feigl states he does not believe UFOs were involved at Echo Flight at Malmstrom, the location. It's an ICBM silo location in the 1960s. He emailed saying the following. Hopefully this helps you and confirms to you, at least, that your dad, the other person who was there, one of the other people who was there, is a straight shooter and does not lie to anyone. Your dad has not lied about anything, nor do I believe he is even capable of lying about anything at all. He was, is, and always will be an honorable man. You should remember that. Always I will. I'd like to point out that if you called into question any of the supposed statements by these military people, that you were called an asshole for questioning the word of a vet, because a vet's word is always good. But as soon as one of these vets disagreed with the UFO researcher, suddenly he's a lying shit. It doesn't matter if he's a vet anymore. So that means, ergo, it's only a convenience argument to say you're not allowed to question a vet. I emphasize that to people in person, because I get people who say, I'm a vet, you should respect me, while they're trying to steal something. Because they're not vets, they're lying about it. Anybody can claim to be a military person or a Navy SEAL or whatever. It doesn't make them anything like that. Second, this is the assertion from this man. Bob Sales was never associated with any shutdown of any missiles at any time in any flight, and you can take that to the bank. This is his assertions about Robert Sales or Bob Sales. Just think about this for a split second. He is a person wrapped up in UFOs to the nth degree, yet he could not remember he was not at Echo Flight. He originally made the assertion that he was at Echo Flight. He was actually at Oscar. Then he thought he was at November. Wrong again. Then he thought he was at Oscar. This guy's saying he wasn't at Oscar Flight either, so he wasn't even there. But this is someone else's assertion, which you can read in its entirety below me. There is no record about anything happening at November or Oscar except in people's minds that are flawed beyond imagination. So it's Echo, Oscar, and November. Kilo, Fred. Anyway, let's see here. Salas has created events out of thin air and can't get his facts straight even then. My best friend to this day was the flight commander of the 10th SMS at the time. He and I have discussed this silly assertion in past couple of years. He thinks it's all a made-up nonsense for sure, but both Sales and Hastings in touch with him, and he has told them both that an incident in November Osco never happened. In addition, he was subsequently stationed at Northern Air Force Base, where the engineers tested the possible problems. No little green men responsible. Now, I'm repeating someone's assertions here, and I'm only repeating their assertions, not the entire interview. So this is less than 50% of the data from the page. This is not a copyright violation. This is fair use. And I'm doing a pseudo-dramatic reading. So we have Oscar November and Echo flights. How many flights could there be? About 26? No, actually, it's a little bit lower than that. But let's go on. I have always maintained that I do not, nor have I ever believed in UFOs in any form, at any place, and any time. I have never seen one or reported it that I have seen one. I have always maintained that they had nothing to do with the shutdown of Echo Flight in Montana. Okay, now how is this going to get spin doctored? He calls the guy a fucking liar. Or says, well, this is very interesting because I have your assertions for this audio recording. Well, let's get on with that apparently too. The event at Maelstrom has a handwritten log from me that was turned in just like all the other logs that I wrote over the several years. I would think that if I wrote something like that in the log, there would have been copies. It would have been classified at the beginning and then released along with the classified SAC messages and base reports. Nothing in that urgent SAC message even hints of UFOs at all. So the handwritten note that's displayed on the page, it doesn't say this about UFOs, does it? And if it does, he's saying it's not his. I think that it would be if the official logs or telephone calls had referenced that fact. When it happened, neither your dad, the other person who was there, nor I were visibly shaken by the events. It was just another day with an unexpected event in their lives. It was rather underwhelming at the time. No one rushed out to see us. No one made us sign any papers. No one interrogated us for hours on end. Because a relay broke or an amp screwed up at a missile base. Yeah, it's scary. But the behavior of it, if you're not aware of this, UFOs visited a nuke base. And then at the nuke base, what did it do in response to UFOs? It shut down so that it wouldn't cause a nuclear war. No, it's not that the nukes saved us like the Russian meme of them shutting off the nukes. It's that the assertion is there was a UFO report at the time, so it must have caused this screw-up. That is actually something that did happen at nuke bases once in a while. They would have screw-ups like this because the equipment wasn't perfect. The assertion there was a UFO report requires that you find one. And what someone did is they went out of their way after they say they were at this location. It may not have been. And they said that they were ridiculed or whatever, or not, for having a UFO report. But they went around looking for confirmation. Now we even have a question whether that person was ever there. Maybe they were. They were just a janitor. No one's ever a janitor in these stories. Nobody's the cook. They're always a right powerful Rambo or something. There is no Air Force cover-up. It just didn't happen the way Sales and Hastings portrayed the course of events. I'm sorry that you're all caught up in this pissing contest with these people. This is the reason this person didn't want to come forward. Make an extremely toxic environment toxic so nobody wants to come in and tell you that you're full of shit. I wade in this stuff. I really am. They are not just going to let go no matter what you say or do. He has made a 15-year career pandering about the country, talking about things he has no knowledge about. Also, I'd like to point out some of the things he says about working at a missile launch location have been confirmed by other people to be complete bullshit. He must not have known what he's talking about, or he was never there. But anyway, I don't know. Just spitballing here. I'm not at all interested in talking them on. It's not worth my effort. I have more important things to do with my life. I'd much rather just stay out of it. Hopefully we can move on. I did read about a briefing on the 27th here in D.C. I'm in Virginia, 10 miles away. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, the one guy that was one of many people who at one point might have been listed with a picture and a name underneath it, this esteemed colleague of mine agrees with this, suddenly isn't invited to the party where all of the witnesses show up in Washington, D.C. to do that fake C-SPAN hearing you all saw on YouTube. But that was a fake congressional hearing. It didn't actually happen. It's something they arranged. They made it look like a congressional hearing. It was just a bunch of people at the press club. But he wasn't invited because, well, a dissenting opinion should be buried, right? Hastings failed to produce the promised audio tapes where he and or Sales supposedly had post-2008 contact with Mr. Feigl here, agreeing with them. He agreed to this, but he says he didn't. Why would Hastings and Sales hold a press conference on the 27th in D.C. and not invite Walt Fiegel, one of their primary and most important witnesses, to one of the allegedly largest nuclear missile silo UFO shutdowns in the history of ufology? Why would they not have retired Lieutenant Walter Fagel standing in front of the cameras admitting that yes, indeed a UFO was involved at Echo Flight? Simply because he would have contradicted him and said, I never said that shit. There's an audio recording of the guy talking. You can go look it up. I'll have links to it. But you can hear sounds in it that make it seem enhanced. He was located only 10 miles away, yet they didn't invite him. Interesting. Try to fool people into thinking all this happened at the same time the missiles went down. Not some significant time afterwards or before. Or it didn't happen at all. Time and space are relative dimensions, I suppose, right? Retardus. So anyway, I'm not saying somebody's lying or a huckster. I'm winking and nodding. The 2010 Walter Fagel assertions and statements, along with some responses from the person who communicated with him by email, are listed below as a linkable item and maybe some of the text. The point is, that's one person who at one time was claimed to be a rock-solid source of information, and they always seem to want to use military people for this because you're not allowed to tell a military person they're wrong about something, apparently. Authoritarianism is squeezing out like a turd out of someone's butt here. But the guy stated flat out, no, that's not what happened. And this is in a typed-up statement that was emailed. And yes, I can warn people now, if this guy who received this email didn't erase it, you can these days run it through a routine that confirms it's really an email from somebody. So you can actually confirm it's really authenticatable. You can get a chain of evidence this way. Many email servers will go ahead and get the hash code cookie kit out and double check that really did come from there. And what was the response to this vet saying the other vet's full of it? Or in this case, that he was nowhere near it. Well, you can't call a vet a bad guy or a liar unless it disagrees with me. Then I'm going to call him a lying shit. This is interesting. He said a bunch of stuff before in your audio recording you have edited. Yeah. So anyway, Walter Fagel's 2010 comments, which apparently are the end of it. He's done with it. I don't think this is really, I don't think he's mincing words here. He didn't call the guy a complete asshat because I guess, you know, he has a little more dignity than I do. I have no dignity. I will get the hip waders. So anyway, why do people keep bringing up Echo, Oscar, and November flights as being UFO incidents that were resulting in the shutdown of missiles? Because it's a meme. If you can travel from one star to another in a short period of time, you don't need no fucking nukes. You can create a wormhole inside a planet and suck it into another universe as rubble. You don't fucking care about nukes. In fact, if you see a population detonating them, you avoid them because they're too fucking stupid. And no, you don't go down warning them like that. You land on the White House lawn, walk out, say, ack, ack, and then hand them a note that says, stop detonating nukes or we'll show up here and enslave you and make you dance for us. Got a boogie. But that's basically all I got to say about it. But no, this is bullshit. And the meme about it appeals to new agey people who think, no, the aliens are like gods, but we won't have gods. And shut up. There's no big daddy in the sky, and he's not green or fuzzy looking either. I think Ewoks should take over too, but that's not going to happen. I think the squirrels will rule, but that doesn't make it real either. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. This is step umpteenth.